Welcome to Saga Roll. We play tabletop games, and today we're playing Vampire the Masquerade, Dark Shoals, Sabbat Chronicle, and well, we are playing bad guys. And parental discretion advised. If you find that something's bad and whatever, well, leave and stuff, and don't feel guilty. Well, anyway, take us away, storyteller.
All right. So last time we had all gathered together at the Hotel Monteleone in the specialty lounge for Elysium being called that evening. Dr. Isaacs and Jules had managed to arrive a little bit, maybe slightly more than fashionably early, and encountered a scene of several individuals not quite lounging about, but the majority of them in quiet discussion, and a singular individual at the unique carousel bar, observing the entrance. Jules, what do you recall about our last encounter?
They were pretty friendly, especially the Toreador.
She took a particular interest in you. Do you remember her name?
Uh, I'm sure that Jules does, but I, the player, do not.
I've got it for you. She introduced herself as Gabriella and said that you could call her that, and she would like to start out as friends.
That's right. And of course, Jules was like, "Oh, sure, whatever," you know.
And then she went through introducing each individual who was near to the group where you were still standing. Dr. Isaacs had begun to make his way over to the carousel bar where the familiar grinning face that both of you met earlier in the evening and Dr. Isaacs had run into previously at the um, library sat. She introduced a gentleman with well trimmed facial hair, dark hair. Um, it seems probably maybe mid length. You would imagine probably shoulder length, pulled back neatly. And his eyes are moving around the room and occasionally resting on the individual speaking with him. She introduced him as Prince Marcel Gilbeau of New Orleans. Next to him was the woman of similar medium tone, with dark hair, long dark hair, pulled back into neat dreadlocks from what you could tell. And they kind of spilled over her shoulders. And she wasn't in quite as fashionable attire as the prince was, nor the woman on your arm at this point. But she was still well dressed. She was in a button down slacks, and you noticed that her shoes held a little bit of dirt along the bottom, though they had been well cleaned. She was introduced as Martine Marvaux. Next to them, partially leaning against the wall, was a portly individual with lighter colored skin, uh, wire rim glasses, and balding hair, you could tell. More gray than anything, and he gave you a nod and acknowledgement, but seemed to be more listening to whatever Martine was speaking with Marcel about. He was introduced as Horace Smith, the Malkavian Primogen. Martine was introduced as the Gangrel Primogen for you. And then at the bar, Dr. Isaacs was midway making his path there. Valentine Lejeune was introduced as the Tremere Primogen. That was the individual that you were familiar with. Dr. Isaacs and Mr. Lejeune entered into a more private conversation during the time that you were on Gabriella's arm. And she told you that while it is nice to be fashionably early, you were maybe a little bit earlier than they had anticipated anyone else showing up for. And that's when you and Dr. Isaacs made the realization that you were here about 30 to 45 minutes early instead of 5 to 10. Um, Dr. Isaac's conversation in the interim with Mr. Valentin Lejeune took a little bit of a turn. Do you remember what you discussed towards the end of your conversation, Dr. Isaacs?
Yeah.
What was that?
Um. I know it had to do with clans.
Yes.
I think I was inferring what clan I belong to from him.
Indeed. Let's just say you left some breadcrumbs and he picked up on them rather quickly and began to press you with some more pointed questions when you were trying to leave details out. In the end, you ended up showing him briefly how you were able to adjust your physical form by manipulating one of your fingers and then returning it. And he said something quite specific. Do you recall what it was?
Don't do that ever again. Stuff like
No.
that. No.
He said they're going to love you.
Mm.
And you had a little bit of an awkward smile in response, and he went, "Oh no, that is not a good thing." And then we turned the page back over to Jules as our faithful crew of Peter and Frank were on their way towards the hotel. So Jules will conduct your conversation, and then roughly that's when the others will arrive, along with Hank and Josephine, and a few other faces shortly behind them. So,
Well, I would like to be very close friends, but I, still kind of new at this, so sure.
of course. And I understand that it can be a bit disconcerting, especially depending how long you've had your new legs under you. Uh, Josephine, I'm sure, will talk more in depth about it, but she did mention that her new turn had kind of bumped into a few wayward souls within the city, and that's why we decided to set up tonight so we could meet all of you. See, we've had a little bit of concern going on, and I think we could use a new, fresh face like yours around.
Oh, uh, I look forward to it, and yeah, be of service and all.
Mhm. Would you like to take a seat? Would you like a drink?
Uh, sure. Any way or in particular to sit?
You're welcome to sit. She kind of glances at the group with the prince and considers it. Suppose we could sit nearby, or we could take a seat at the bar until Elysium is officially called into order.
Sure. I would like to go to the bar, I guess. Do we drink normal drinks or what we drink?
Whatever you would like. So when Elysium is in effect, both are typically provided. It would be polite to make sure that you're not parched before you arrive for our normal type of imbibement, but generally a good host will provide both.
Oh, okay.
And she'll walk you over to the carousel bar and take a seat next to you.
She'll let her be guided and then take a seat and then order she'll try to look at see what she's gonna order for herself.
She actually orders a dry martini.
Jules will order the same. Take it like trying to mirror her, so
Mhm. She'll raise it for a small toast with you.
And she'll say to new faces, and then clink her glass against hers.
To new faces and hopefully new friends.
Indeed, new faces and new friends.
So I work with most of the art district. I assist with the general museum curation, I was assisting with part of the university and the new wing that was going in, but it seems I unfortunately had a little bit of miscommunication, and you can see her eyes kind of cut across the bar to Valentine, who is smiling but speaking more with Dr. Isaacs than looking your way. And she returns her attention to you. Is there anything you'd like to know about us? I can answer a few questions, surface things, to give you an idea.
What usually happens at your first Elysium?
Well, that is a good question. Typically, you're presented by your sire, the one who would have made you. Beforehand, they would have requested permission to sire, so permission to have you created. And then they would take, not necessarily ownership of you, but it's kind of like that, wherein as you take your fledgling steps, think of it like a parent and a child. Anything that you do incorrectly, or if you acted out for some reason against the city's rules, then it would fall onto them to punish you, but also somewhat take the punishment for you, because they're intended to keep an eye on you and help guide you and help you grow.
I see.
So it's like coming out formally. If you've ever had a debutante situation, I'm not certain if you're familiar with that, but your fashion makes me think that you are.
Yeah, yes, I am. She'll correct herself when she said yeah, but yes, yes, indeed. So it's basically just like that. Okay, I understand.
Yes, you're being socially presented, and then you're meeting the main faces of the city, or those that are present at the time. Tonight we won't have all of the Primogen within the city. There are quite a number of them, though I do feel we will have more than we currently do. I know Josephine is joining us, but she had to attend to something.
I see.
And I'm quite surprised that we have our here at the bar with us, but it's a pleasant surprise nonetheless. It's difficult to push Tremere away from their dusty old books.
I see. So they're very into good books. I see. When we greet the prince, do we curtsy and bow, or do we call him my lord or something?
It depends on the prince that you're going to greet. With Prince Marcel, you could curtsy. I wouldn't say you need to grovel or anything, and you would typically refer to them as prince formally, and that's a uniform title. It goes for anyone currently in power of the city with our structure. So if we were to say that someone of feminine presence took hold of the city, they would still be referred to as prince.
I see. Has he been the prince for very long?
She gives you a smile and kind of reaches over to pat you on the elbow gently and just goes, I would say so. If you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
Oh, I am. Oh, I need a character look up how she is in real life. Oh, I am 23.
You are quite fresh. Yeah. And you see, like, there's a little bit of it's not sinister in nature, but it's almost like she sees you in a slightly different light. Like, she sees you that you are just very fresh, very new face. Kind of like one would look at maybe someone almost fondly, even though she doesn't know you. It's one of those situations of where there's something that just stood out about you that she realized that kind of endeared you to her a little bit. Yes, our prince has been over the city now for, oh goodness, a couple of generations in regards for you.
When you say a generation, do you how many years would you consider a generation? Because I considered a generation like 30 or 40 years.
I feel like that's reasonable, yes. Let's. She's gonna lean in and whisper to you. I, not to bring up age or anything like that, but he's been here quite some time. You could say probably 3 to 4 generations easily, as seeing over the city. He's been here before that.
She'll nod, doing the math in her head. I see. Okay.
If you go on the low end, it's somewhere between 90 and 120
Okay. Okay.
for heading the city.
Have you been in this city for very long?
I've lived here a good while, yes. I lived here when steamboats were more popular. I lived here when vessels used wind to fill their sails only.
I see. Out of character, I so want to ask like who their favorite president was, but but that's out of character. I know what character would ask though.
Okay.
I see. I see. So actually, we meet the prince and they are presented. Then we just go about our business.
Well, we conduct Elysium, and then it's in session for. If the prince has time for the evening, then Elysium remains open for several hours and it becomes more of a social event once all items are addressed at the start. And if, unfortunately, say the prince is unable to stay the entire evening, typically it will continue to run for a little bit, but no official inquiries will be made at that time. It's much more rubbing elbows and business afterwards that's between individuals. If it's a city affair or something that has to take place with the prince's input, it's addressed immediately.
I see. I don't know if I have any other questions for you right now. But I'm sure I will have other questions for you.
Of course.
And she'll smile and her smile meets her eyes.
You can tell that Gabriella at this point seems genuine with you. She's definitely a well-practiced socialite, but you feel like she is currently being genuine with you, Jules.
Cool.
I'm
sure she's gonna taste fantastic when I Diablerize her.
Oh, those are some memories. You'll have an interesting time if you make it. She's going to twist around a little bit so that she is partially facing you, partially facing the others as the carousel is slowly winding around in the center of the room. And as you pass by, and your gaze will brush over both of the doors as well as the seated trio at the wall, you notice that Prince Marcel is still not exactly giving direct attention to the two with him. Occasionally, if Martine needs like an affirmation or something, he will make eye contact with her and either nod or shake his head. But she appears to be doing most of the conversing over there, whereas Horace is standing near them, still leaning against the wall, and you see that he is very slowly nursing a drink in his hand as he's watching just the area overall. It doesn't seem like his eyes are particularly fixated on one point, but you get the odd sensation that he's seeing the entirety of the room in a way.
Jules will take notice. can Jules see Dr. Isaacs?
Oh yes. He and Valentine are across the way from you. You think that she might have picked these seats specifically because she could make direct eye contact with Valentine. It seems as though he's trying to avoid it as politely as possible with her without making it too obvious.
Jules will kind of chill, waiting, making small talk with her whenever she, and asking some different questions, like idle chit chat, waiting for the other two to arrive and for Elysium to start.
She will give you the name of her tailor, who has a shop just off of Jackson Square, down one of the small alleys. Not one you can drive down, she'll reiterate. It's one of the original streets, so it's pretty narrow. You'd have to walk through it, and there's a couple of smaller shops. A few of them are kind of between owners right now. I'm sure she would be happy to have more clientele, especially with a young lady yourself as well dressed as you are.
Oh, thank you. What's her name again?
Madeline. Madeline Harris.
Madeline Harris. I won't forget it, and thank you very much.
And she runs the Amber Closet.
That's such a lovely name for a store.
Well, she was quite fond of the stone. So, once she finally had a space of her own, she dedicated a little bit to it. There's also a very nice gem store nearby, which has polished and unpolished and rough cut stones in it. I think you would enjoy taking a look at as well. They do custom jewelry as well.
I see.
It's not off the same street, but it's one or two around there. I could show you sometime, perhaps.
Sure. I would like that. Perhaps next week?
Certainly. And she will motion to one of the bartenders, and he'll come over and hand her a small pocketbook from underneath the bar. She opens it and hands you a card.
She'll take it and then look at it. Does it just have her contact information?
It does. It has Gabriella Metoyer on the front. There's very minimal details, but it has a phone number.
Awesome. She'll smile, and it's a genuine smile, and then
I imagine you have a small pocketbook with you too, so you'd easily be able to put it away.
I'm sure Jules has her purse with her.
Yes.
So she'll put that in her. Yeah. That's the only thing out of character. That's the only thing I can think to talk to her about for right now.
Okay.
Trying to keep it, formal as I can.
Yeah, she's definitely still very formal, but she's also trying to, you think, maybe gauge your response on friendly conversation and how well you handle it. You can tell that every piece of this, though she has been polite and intends to be polite with you, is also definitely not necessarily judging you, but taking stock of how you respond. Like, you notice that she noticed you correcting your yeah to a yes earlier.
Okay. Also, how does the card looks really good, right? Like very formal.
Yes.
All right. She will pause and look at it before she carefully puts it in her pocket and puts it in her purse.
It is a high quality stock. You can tell that there is a little bit of a texture to both the front and the back. The letters are actually slightly raised and embossed very neatly with what looks to be there's no running on the card whatsoever. an almost reflective black ink. And you can tell that her name is probably a very stylized version of her personal signature.
Nice. I don't think Jules would have cards. I just don't know.
No, I would say probably with your family business, you don't really tend to carry personal cards. You know that she's more of a social figure, so she probably has standing as an owner of local art stores and things like that, so that might be why she has them.
Okay. When I say next week, it'll probably be sometime around. Out of character, what's today?
Oh, I had everything but that.
Oh.
Just give me
Okay.
a moment. I just have to add the days that it's been. I think the last day I told you was a Thursday, and I think I want to say it's been 2 days. So I want to say it's a Saturday evening.
So I'll give you a call perhaps on Tuesday, if that's okay?
Oh, yes. Weekends, I'm usually fairly busy. Weeknights are a bit better. Tuesdays are a little quiet, so that would work.
Excellent. I'll give you a call Tuesday night.
I look forward to it. If I don't answer, please do not mind my assistant. She will be awaiting your call. I will let her know to anticipate it. Her name is Prudence.
I see.
So if unfortunately you do not catch me on the first ring, I will be available shortly thereafter.
Excellent.
I would say within 10 to 15 minutes I would be available.
Oh, no rush at all. I understand that we all are busy, especially since you are a primogen.
That is the word, yes. But I've invited you specifically to make these plans, so I would be making you a priority if I hear from you.
Oh, excellent, excellent. Well, I will do everything in my power to make the call Tuesday.
She's going to give you a smile and raise her drink and take a sip of it as the bartender places her purse back underneath where it's safe for the time being. Not necessarily that you think anything would happen, considering the few people here, but it seems to be much more of a attending to social norms type of situation for her.
Okay.
With that, we will jump to our two wayward gentlemen, quickly hot-footing it towards the Hotel Monteleone, wanting to be at least 10 minutes early. Frank and Peter.
Mhm.
You two arrive at the front. There is a bellhop outside, and he greets you. Good evening, gentlemen.
Hi.
We're coming in.
Very well. Have a good evening, sir. And he opens the door for both of you.
Oh. Cheers.
As you step into the main entryway, it's very lavish, and off to your right, you notice that there is a sign tucked neatly next to the wall that says Carousel Lounge. The golden lettering on the door itself is faintly illuminated from the back, as you can tell there are people within. And it looks like the door is open and currently unattended.
Shall we?
Guess that's us. I'll hold the door open for him.
Okay.
Very kind.
So dry. The both of you enter. As you open the door, Frank, you notice the lavish interior. The walls are lined with a very plush, like almost overstuffed, velvet-covered lounge seating that seems to be a continuous sofa almost, without dividing arms around the wall. In the center, you see a quite nicely stocked bar slowly rotating under what looks like a canopy draped from above the ceiling that mirrors that of a circus. Though the colors have been toned down a little bit more to a deeper crimson red instead of candy red, and instead of a bright sunflower yellow, it is golden accents.
This is a bit much.
You notice Dr. Isaacs seated at the bar with a gentleman, and Jules seated at the bar across from them with a very stunning woman. And then to your left, where the two of you stand, between your door and a secondary door, it looks like, are a group of 3 people. A gentleman sat in the center. You can tell from first glance that he seems to be the focal point of the other 2. The woman speaking with him is Martine. She's got a little bit. If you had to put your thumb on it, she kind of reminds you a little bit, Frank, of Peter in a way. She's dressed up well, but you can tell that her type of dressing up doesn't match here with the others present. And then there is the portly fellow, probably on in age compared to everyone else here in his current dress, keeping an attention to the room, but he's still invested within the conversation going on next to him.
I'll walk over to Jules. All right, love.
Well, hey.
What's going on?
Oh, I'm just
Well,
Just what?
I'm just meeting Gabriella, this is Frank, Gabriella.
she holds out her hand towards you, Frank.
All right, I'll grab hold of her hand and give it a shake.
She definitely held it out in the manner for you to kiss it, but when you give her a handshake, she'll reciprocate, but she doesn't. She kind of glances at Jules, but doesn't say anything, and then it's a pleasure to meet you. I am Gabriella. I am the Toreador Primogen.
This is Pete.
And she'll
Hi.
hold out her hand to you, Peter, as well.
I do another sort of manly handshake, not gripping too hard, but
It's nice to meet you. I am Gabriella.
yeah, you too.
Are you... I imagine you're some of the friends Jules may have mentioned?
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
really good friends. Where's Hank?
He is not present currently.
I should look at my wrist where I don't have a watch. I will watch it.
Wasn't he with you?
No. Me and Pete stayed in the cafe,
Oh,
Hank hadn't shown up all evening so far.
and we definitely didn't go anywhere else.
Jules was kind of squint at him and be like, okay.
Gabriella seems curious about the exchange going on. I'm not certain, but maybe he's with Josephine? I recognize the name.
Oh,
Yeah, she's nice.
she's very nice. And probably with her, yeah. Yes.
Gabriella's going to smile at you, Jules, for that.
Did she introduce herself as a Toreador, Primogen? Or did someone say she was Toreador?
Yeah, she did. She introduced herself as such.
Then I will say, what's Toreador then?
We are. Well, really, we're all family. We're all through the same blood at some point, but we're the group that likes to focus on the beauty in things, the beauty in people, art. We extol the virtues of self-expression.
I make things.
Do you? I would be interested to see some of your work.
I think the only work I've done in this city is at Hank's place.
Huh.
I built him a shower.
Oh, a practical hand.
Sometimes.
There can be beauty in that too. Do you do much construction work or renovation?
Well, I was a welder before,
Mm-hmm.
but I've always been practical, so I've been, like, since I've been in the city, I've been doing a bit of work for Josephine and for Hank, so yeah, I guess.
Okay. Well, I would like to see what you're capable of, and then maybe I could give you some more work.
When you say, sorry, just to clarify, when you say what I'm capable of, do you mean in what I'm good at making or what I'm good at breaking?
What you're good
People
at
seem to
making.
be interested in both of those things.
I would be more interested in what you're good at making.
Okay. Sure, we can. Yeah, I can do that. If you got stuff you want fixing up, I can do that.
She'll give a polite nod and then kind of glance to Peter. How about yourself?
Local police officer.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's all a bit new and weird, really.
Yes.
Not sure if I'll be able to carry on doing my job. We'll just have to wait and see, won't we?
Something that we all have to address at some point. Doesn't mean you can't do it again somewhere else or down the line a little bit.
Yeah, I was pretty good at it, so it'd be a shame not to carry on doing it.
Are you more the type for investigation or footwork, or what was your focus?
Deal with bad people. Keeping people safe, making sure the bad people can't hurt good people. That was my job.
She's going to nod and not press it further. About that time, you hear the door open again. And in steps Josephine and Hank. Hank, would you like to describe your current suit?
Yeah, sure. I guess Josephine's picked out a suit for Hank. It is a smart black suit, white shirt, black tie. It is a nice fit. It's obviously custom made because it's not off the shelf for Hank, because that wouldn't work. So yeah, nice smart suit, well polished shoes. Hank looks fairly comfortable wearing it. Doesn't feel like he's out of place. He feels fairly comfortable, fairly happy, fairly smart.
Josephine has paired a surprisingly bright
Surprising.
colored. Apologies, I had an alarm in the background and I was trying to turn it off really quick. A surprisingly smart but brightly colored dress to complement your very traditional black and white ensemble. She's got a lime green mod style dress without sleeves, whereas the top is up into a small lipped collar, and it's kind of like a cream colored white, and it comes down to form just a block of white all the way down to the base in the front. It's very form framing and complementing without being revealing. And as the two of you step in, she's going to give you a smile and nod. It's a little bit of silent encouragement, and lean in to tell you. I just saw the wave from the bar. Yeah. And she's going to lean in to tell you, I'm going to go mingle and get the introduction set up. Feel free to gather and discuss amongst yourselves. I need to speak with you before the evening ends. We can do that back at the bar.
Yeah, of course, no problem at all. Just give me a shout if you need me for anything.
And she's...
Sorry, go on, Toasty.
No. Please continue.
I will wander over to the bar where Hank is. Frank is.
Right, and she excuses herself and joins the three that are currently conversing with the prince.
Hello.
What?
She looks alright, didn't she?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on?
Oh.
We're speaking to... Was it Madeline?
Gabriella.
Gabriella. We're speaking to Gabriella.
Cool.
You are very familiar with Gabriella, as she has been near the club a few times, and even in the club several times before. This is the individual that you and the others, you know specifically, were warned to avoid before you were introduced.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is Gabriella Metoyer, and she will hold out her hand towards you, Hank, with a polite but familiar smile.
I will. Is the hand a shake or a kiss? Is it what?
It's
what
a
is
kiss.
Okay. I will take the hand, kiss it. I will. Lovely to see you again. We missed you at the club.
She is practically beaming at you. You could tell maybe she hasn't had the exact same greeting reciprocated as she anticipated until now.
Were we supposed to do that?
I go around kissing random women.
No, exactly.
Married.
Weird, isn't it?
Okay. I am gonna just make very polite conversation about the club, her being at the club, and then try to distance myself.
Okay. She will, of course, warmly greet you, state that maybe something can be arranged for between her and Josephine. It can be a mutual evening at the club or something, and she's excited to see you join them.
Okay, I will thank her for that and say, obviously, I'm sure Josephine would love to. Excuse me, would love to arrange something together, but obviously I can't speak for her. It's not my place. But always be delighted to see her at the club.
And you feel like you escape the hooks of a very large cat as you manage to slowly disentangle yourself with pleasantries from the conversation.
So that was Jules, Frank, and Shitdog all there, yeah?
Yeah, and then glancing around, you can see okay, guys. You can see Dr. Isaacs sitting across the carousel bar next to a gentleman that you've seen before, but you aren't particularly familiar with. You would have seen him in passing at the club.
Okay, I'll have a wander over, see how the boss is doing.
This is about the time that your previous conversation has just wrapped up, Dr. Isaacs. And you have just killed your entire drink as Hank is walking over to you. Hank, that is what you see as you start to make your way over, is a little bit of muted conversation between the two ends, and Dr. Isaacs just kills his whole drink.
Cool. Are they at the bar?
Yes.
I will get myself a drink and whatever. I'd say farming whatever the doc's just finished. And glance at. I'm guessing it's the Tremere.
Yes.
Fireman
This
he's talking to?
correct. This is
I-
Valentine.
I will glance at him and gestures if he wants a drink.
He will smile and raise his own, and you notice that what he is having is what the doctor was having.
2 of those, and I'll have the same.
All right. You are quickly served a high quality but quite strong bourbon on the rocks.
You alright, Doc?
Yeah. I'm peachy.
Good stuff.
Valentine has a polite smirk on his face.
I will introduce myself.
He'll hold out a hand to shake.
I'm not kissing that one, no.
No, it's to shake. Valentine, bonjour. We've seen each other about, but I've never made it my business till now.
Hank Marvin, nice to meet you.
Likewise. You do recognize the name. You would recognize him as the Toreador, sorry, the Tremere Primogen.
Okay.
Which...
And I will stay make polite chit chat with the doc if he's up for it, because he looks a bit ashen at the moment.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Can you...
So,
hold on. I need to know. Yeah, there we go. I need to know what the doc's body language is currently saying versus what he's actually saying. Are you trying to portray something that you're not feeling? Are you trying to be calm and you're feeling anxious, or are you just
Yes.
showing you're anxious?
Yep. Nope. I'm trying to be calm, and I'm asking you to please help with my body language.
Okay. Do I get that at all, Toasty?
I would say, let's see. For the doctor, I would say a charisma composure. You can set it at a 1. We're just seeing how well you read each other. And then for you to read him, please give me a wits insight.
Is there such a thing as insight? Yeah, there is. Difficulty 2, yeah?
You can put it at a 1. We're just seeing how well you read each other. Oh yeah. The doctor is attempting to put on a brave face, and this is the equivalent of when he ran to the garage the day before and yelled, "I need, like, Hank and Frank," type of situation. There's something going on, but you don't know quite what.
if he'd have said I need Hank and Frank, it would have gone very differently.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Need Frank.
Is Valentine still hanging around?
Oh yeah, he's sitting
Yep.
right beside the dock having a leisurely drink with him.
Okay, I'm just gonna put my arms around the doc, or an arm around the doc's shoulders, and say, I've got someone you really need to meet. Josephine was keen to meet. And then I will look at Valentine and say, if you would excuse us.
Certainly. Could you give me a manipulation subterfuge, please? I'm gonna keep the DC hidden, so just give me add a 1, and I want to see how many successes you get.
Successes.
He's gonna smile and nod. It was nice to see you. We'll of course talk more later. Dr. Isaacs,
Yes, sir.
have a good evening.
You as well.
I will lead the doc away to a random person. I just need him on the other side of the room from
It is-
Valentine.
It is mostly specifically your group at the moment. As you lead him away, you do notice the far door has what looks like the back outline of a gentleman standing outside of it, probably keeping an eye on it and not letting other people in out from the main entrance.
Okay.
Um,
I walk towards Josephine. I'm not going to Josephine because I know she's busy.
right.
It takes me away from Valentine as if we're walking towards her, and then we'll see she's busy and detour back to the rest of the group. But I will give him a friendly, if slightly shoulder breaking squeeze and say, "What's up, Doc? You seem a little bit off."
That's the guy that I met at the library, and I owe him a boon, and
I'm just imagining like the heated whispers right now.
But that's the guy you owe a boon to.
yeah. I still don't know what a boon is.
I think it's like some kind of favor.
Oh, you know very well what it is.
Like some kind of favor, but worse. What kind of boon did he say it was?
A moderate boon.
It might put you out a bit. It's not going to kill you.
That's good.
I will say this, from what you read earlier, you can tell that that is part of the issue.
Oh,
That there's probably something more, but that's what the doc is giving you.
It's a moderate boon, Doc. I wouldn't lose any sleep over it. You'll be fine. We're a pretty resourceful group. What's really bothering you?
I showed him the finger thing.
Okay.
Thank
You know,
you.
Tremere. You know.
Hank, you are well aware enough that because you've been with Josephine as long as you have, because you had a little more preparation for turn, you understand the implications of this.
Okay.
I was hoping maybe he could point me in the direction of their group of people that could do the finger thing.
I think we met the people who can do the finger thing. I think he's called the gardener.
Yeah, but I was hoping there would be one over here.
He moves in different circles to these people. What did he say?
What? He said they'll love me.
Yeah. Okay.
That seems to be the thing that's bothering him, that he said that they would love him.
Did you tell him about the gardener?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure. Krista, I did not tell him about the gardener. Stop.
I'm just letting you know what's in the back of Dr. Isaac's mind with what you rolled.
Right. You sure?
Yes, I definitely did not tell them about the gardener. There were no gardens mentioned at all.
I can imagine you walking over to our group and I'll be right in the middle of a conversation. And then we met the gardener, and we went and stayed with him for a bit, and he taught us all about being in the Sabbat.
So, you didn't specifically say the gardener.
Did you mention your sire? Did you say you knew who your sire was?
No.
Every time you talk, a little voice goes off in the back of my head. It's amazing. Toasty,
I'm being bullied right now about subconscious.
Yeah. If I overstep, just say I wouldn't know that. But I'm going to say I think your best bet is to say you've run away from a cruel master and are looking to join the Camarilla to escape the horrors you've seen. Yeah?
I would say you
Hank,
feel like that's a reasonable thing.
But Hank, you missed it. We came up with this whole plan about how we all met and that kind of thing. Where were you earlier?
Oh yeah, I forgot all about that.
So what was his plan about how we all met? I've lost Ben audio. Is anyone else? Or is it just me? Or is he just literally not saying anything?
He's not saying anything.
I think he's thinking.
He's thinking.
Okay, so you and Jules knew each other beforehand because the club and all that kind of stuff, and then Frank busted his hip or something like that, and I helped him, because I'm a doctor, and
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
and then Peter was there for some reason, and we went to the strip club, and that's how we all know each other, and
Okay. But before that, yeah, that's why you've come to New Orleans, yeah?
But before that, I was a doctor in New Orleans.
Does he know that?
He works at the school that I graduated from.
But he doesn't know when you were turned, does he? It's not like you got a date stamp on you. So let's say you were turned 50 years ago to a cruel Zamisi boss, yeah? Okay. And you've managed to escape to New Orleans to start a new life, and you heal his hip, come to the strip club, meet a shit dog, yeah? That's... And now you want a life in the Camarilla away from all of them horrible Sabbat people.
They have things like my birth certificate at the college.
But you only told them tonight. So we might be able to get around it.
Okay.
Gotta talk to the rest of the group. And by the rest of the group, I mean Jules, because I doubt with all my heart that either Frank or Pete are going to have anything useful to add to this.
It's surprisingly deep. I didn't realise how deep it was going to be. I thought it was going to be maybe 50 feet, but no, it was really deep.
Is Gabrielle still hanging around Jules?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
And if anything, she's trying to draw Peter and Frank into further conversation with them.
I'm talking to her. If she wants to hear talking, I'll talk.
What I'm scared of. And is Josephine deep in conversation with the prince?
They seem to be... Excuse me. When you look over to check that, you notice that Martine has actually stopped conversing with the prince, and he is actively speaking with Josephine, but they don't seem entrenched in conversation. It seems much more like they're affirming things that may have already been said between them about how tonight's gonna go.
So if I approach Josephine with the dock and look for her body language, am I getting a "not now, I'm busy" or a "how can I help you"?
You're getting a "wait 5 minutes, I'll come find you."
Okay. I'll give her a. It might be better to be 2 than 5 look, and head off to. I think I'll head off to join the rest of the group.
Gabriella is currently trying to extol the beauty of the French Quarter to everyone present, and she's also inquiring if any of you have recently taken interest in some of maybe art exhibits that have started to show up around the city, or if there are a couple of other things that might catch your interest. She's got a few connections here and there, so if you were maybe interested in, of course there's nothing wrong with the 500 Club, but if you were interested in maybe expanding your sites around the city, if you hadn't already looked around, depending on how tonight goes, very much the, oh, if you're interested, let me know. If it goes well, maybe I could show you around type of situation. And with that, we'll wrap up for the evening.
Yay! Thank you for listening. Bye!